Oh man, YouTube Rap Rewind 2019. There were a lot of cool things that happened in the YouTube rap scene this year, as well as a lot of drama, some mainstream advancements, and all around shitty scenarios altogether. But the big thing I feel like is that YouTube rap evolved from the Jake Pauls and the Rice Gums and everyone and their brother trying to make music, and some true artistry showed its face. Now, I've been taking notes this year on some of the biggest events that have happened, and of course, I'm going to miss some of these because I'm human. But these are some of the biggest events that I have written down that I feel like made some of the most impactful changes in the scene altogether. Feel free to comment down below your favorite YouTube rap memory of the year, or even comment something that I've left off. It'll help me for next year. Now keep in mind, this is going to try to stick directly to the YouTube rap music scene, so none of the Nick Cannon, Eminem beefs or anything like that. It's all going to be based around people that use YouTube as their main source of distribution for music. Now there will be some outliers because there was some crossovers between mainstream and YouTube rap this year, but without further ado, here we go, YouTube Rap Rewind 2019. YouTube rap was just coming off the heels of the KSI, Quadeca, Deji, Dax, Randolph, Jallo, Me situation in early December of 2018, which ties into a big backstory of a lot of the events that transpired throughout 2019. It's how I developed a friendship with Quadeca, and it's also where I met Dax. After some conversation and planning combined with the support from Screwface John, we put together what I personally feel like was the first big event of YouTube rap 2019. Four Horsemen was released on January 22nd, 2019, and currently has over 3 million views. Although it's not the most viewed video on this list, and there are songs that were made this year that surpassed this in views, this video was the base for a lot of what happened this year. Long story short, without igniting a fuse from the past, a certain individual on the song dissed everybody else on the song, lied about liking and supporting the song, and spoke poorly of everybody else on the song behind their back, as well as a plethora of other negative things that inspired events in the future to transpire. 3 days later, on January 25th, Quadeca would drop War featuring Dax and announced the release of his new album coming in March. It was at this point that it felt like YouTube rappers were being taken more seriously and dropping actual music rather than just parody songs and diss tracks. Moving on to February, on the 1st, Screwface John would drop Dream Chasers featuring Dax.
Now this is the theme for anybody who was chasing a dream. So this is the theme for anybody who was chasing a dream.
Now this is one of the least viewed videos in the Rewind, but it plays massively into the storyline of events that transpire later on in the year. On February 4th, a relatively unknown artist slash reaction channel at the time, known as Dwayne TV, would open the discussion towards the wrongdoings he noticed by Dax. On February 8th, I would drop Bad Habit, which was an indirect response to being screwed over by Dax. I promise I'm not trying to be narcissistic here, this just plays into the storyline, and Dax was a massive storyline amongst YouTube rap this year. Bad Habit was one of those things where only a handful of people knew who I was talking about, and this would be the first music diss of sorts towards Dax. On that exact same day, amidst all the Tory Lanez diss tracks flying around from every artist known to man, Dax decided to jump into the controversy and make I'm Not Joyner. Due to copyright issues, I can't play any of the music by Dax throughout this entire video, and honestly he's teetering the line between YouTube rapper anyway. 2 days later, Tory would then find Dax and force him to apologize via social media.
Apologize, bro. Apologize, bro. Or you know what's going on. Apologize, my nigga. Apologize, nigga.
I got you, bro.
Apologize, nigga.
I got you, man.
Say sorry, nigga.
My bad for the
Say
diss track,
sorry,
G.
nigga.
Sorry, G.
All right, bet.
I got you, G.
2 days after that, Screwface John would then drop I'm Not Dax and kind of blow the whole situation out of the water.
Let's talk about that Four Horsemen shit. How you did a verse, heard ours, and re-recorded your shit. Cause you laid your verse first, but it was whack as a bitch. Then on your second attempt, you try to throw out a diss.
This diss does a very good job at summing up the entire reason why so many people were irritated with Dax early in the year. Things kind of lay dormant with Dax after this. He took a small hiatus and kind of apologized to everybody, and we all just moved on. Fast forward to February 23rd, an unknown artist, Vin J, would drop one of the most viral songs of the entire year for YouTube rappers, Mumble Rapper versus Lyricist.
Go tell a bitch I flow so venomous, a boom boom, hit him with the stone cold evidence, a flow so relevant, a show no benefit, a low blow, bring him with a po-po, never been.
The song is currently sitting at 12 million views, and Vin J had less than 1,000 subscribers when he dropped this, and he currently has over 230,000. Moving forward into March, we have Chase with Blackout.
Crush the tablets on the table, hit a couple of snoops, then put the clip inside the gun, load it back and then
Blackout is currently sitting at just under 7.5 million views. Blackout would garner mainstream attention and would eventually land Chase a Genius interview. 1 week later, Quadeca would drop his highly anticipated album, Voice Memos. Voice Memos would peak at number 2 on the hip-hop charts, surpassing artists such as YBN Cordae, Khaled, Cardi B, and Offset, only falling short of Juice WRLD. To me, personally, this was the biggest YouTube rap moment of the entire year. On the exact same day, Quadeca would drop the music video for one of the songs from Voice Memos.
Back on my motherfucking shit, I got a lot of new drip, yeah. Just take a look at my fit, Look at my feet, yeah. You're right on my wave like a ship, I live my life like a movie, You live your life like a clip.
This song specifically would garner mainstream attention and grant Quadeca a Genius interview nearly 2 weeks later.
Back on my motherfucking shit, I got a lot of new drip, yeah. Just take a look at my fit,
4 days later, I would put together arguably one of the biggest events of YouTube rap history this year, YouTube Cypher Volume 1.
This is YouTube Cypher, yeah, we coming at you. At the top, I got no bottom like a Fu Manchu. I had a blast ripping the track with a dozen dudes and 20,000 likes, and you'll get a part 2.
I honestly had no idea the response that this would receive, and it got so much love that a second one definitely had to happen, but that's for later on in the year. Fast forward to April when we find out that KSI and Randolph have a collaborative project coming out, and their new song Red Alert has reached number 1 on trending. 6 days later, they would drop this collaborative project and debut at number 1 on UK's hip-hop charts. On April 20th, Upchurch would drop an album called Creaker 2, which also debuted at number 1 on the hip-hop charts in the US. I know Upchurch isn't really considered a YouTube rapper, but he was involved in enough YouTube rap scene this year to be considered on this. Moving on into May, we see Chase get his Genius interview for his song Blackout from months prior.
The day that I wrote Blackout, I actually had a dream about it.
On May 4th, KSI would drop the music video to his song Pull Up featuring JME, which also got number 1 trending on YouTube.
Pull up in the gold, I'm leading.
And now we fast forward into probably the craziest 3 weeks of the entire year. On May 18th, Screw would drop a diss track against Upchurch called Sunday School, which was a response to a video that Upchurch made about Screw, which was a response to a reaction that Screw made to Upchurch.
Just take him to church. Said a prayer, then I created this verse. Statements I'm finna be making to erase it from earth.
Upchurch would then respond with a diss track of his own the very next day called Blue Jean Face.
Oh damn, I think you shot right through my MAGA hat. No, you're not that accurate, and I wasn't even wearing that.
Then the next day, Screw would respond with another diss track called Joe Dirt 2.
Boy, this little star of mine, well, it's gonna shine. True states up the boots, cause it's go time. I'ma only tell your ass one more time. Leave from my heart gets dark as a coal mine.
And the very same day, Upchurch would respond with Joe Meteorite.
Goddamn, James Charles, what you want a round 2 for? Thought he had a plan to give that L back through a loophole.
Things would relatively calm down for about a week until Dax decided he was ready to respond to everybody that dissed him earlier in the year and sent them all this Instagram message here. While everybody was waiting for Dax to release this diss track against the other YouTube rappers, Tom MacDonald then dissed Mac Lethal over this tweet. On June 1st, Tom MacDonald would drop Lethal Injection.
Who gave this old man Twitter? Who taught him how this works?
While everybody was waiting for Mac to respond, June 4th happened. To start off the day, Dax finally released his diss track against the other YouTube rappers called Whack Ass Rappers.
Get it screwed up, the fame I do not chase. Your career's in the crypt, you still in the same place. Making videos of Dax trying to do me like the feds, cause they bars low quality, mine is in high res.
A mere 20 minutes after this was released, Dwayne TV dropped his diss against Dax called The One Above All.
You on tour with Tech and really think you dropping songs. Where you plug your diss, I would've thought you dropped a bomb. Then I seen you in red leggings and fanny pack. It looked like Thanos snapped into a soccer mom.
About an hour after Dax's release, Chase would then drop his diss track against Dax as well.
Why you calling out? Chase, you getting fucked by Chase, you underestimated Chase, time to feel the wrath of
The very next day, Mac Lethal would then respond to Tom MacDonald's original diss with Single White Female.
Hey yo, single white female, it's time to make the J burn. Where's your fucking balls, bitch? You acting like you Grey Worm.
The day after that, Screw would then respond to his own diss towards Dax called The Endgame.
The shit isn't over. Understand you probably did this for closure, but listen close and shit, you'll notice all it did was expose.
The day after that, Tom MacDonald would then re-reply with his second diss towards Mac Lethal called Mac Lethal Sucks.
Hi Dave, hi Dave, hi Dave, I'm not even trying.
The day after that, Hi-Rez responded to Dax's diss with his own diss called The Story of Kendra. The video has since been removed from YouTube, but it did happen on this day. During this week, there were also several other smaller YouTube rappers that dissed Dax as well, but at this point, all of the people that Dax sent a direct message to had dissed him back. Except me. And I did it a week later.
Welcome to Dax's eulogy. He practically passed the news to me. This is what happens when you get confused and shoot it in truancy.
The next day, Dex would respond with this on Instagram, and this was basically the end of this entire saga. After the whole Dax situation happened, everybody kind of settled down and people started to release their own music and do their own thing on their channels. Quadeca actually met KSI face to face for the first time since their beef at the end of 2018 and actually performed on stage with him and Randolph at a sold out show in London. And then we fast forward on to the end of July, which a lot of people tell me is their favorite YouTube rap memory of the year, YouTube Cypher Volume 2.
Crypt just called, he said he's looking to scrap. He wanted gone up on the track because I murdered the raps. Well yo, Crypt homie, just know that I got your back, even if I gotta be a lyrical bully to Dex.
As we move on into August and September, things were relatively quiet on the YouTube rap scene. At least I don't have any notes written down and I can't seem to find anything during that time period. Screw and I dropped a collaborative project called Crypt on August 31st, and that was a huge moment for both of us, but I don't necessarily know if it was like a big YouTube moment for everybody. Shout out to Screw, love you, bruh. Screw, Quadeca, and I all had a show that we headlined together in September, but that was more of a last minute thing. But as soon as October came around, it seemed like the Upchurch and Screw beef wasn't quite done yet. On October 8th, Upchurch uploaded his third diss track against Screw, Cargo Head.
Hey, fuckboy, if I fuck you anymore, you'll be my fuck toy.
The next day, Screw would then respond with his own track, Victim Quotes.
For the third time, I'ma off this cat with his awful raps. You had a lot of rounds by my booty hole, so let's start with that.
And true to form, Upchurch would then respond the next day after that with Diss Smash.
I thought you was A1, you can't even flip a burger, mate. You say I took a stretch because I'm choking you from my home state.
2 days later, Screw would then respond with the 8th and final diss track of the entire situation, The Nail.
Look, listen class, I like to introduce Ryan. Please don't fire me, just want everyone to like him.
The feud would then seem to come to an end on a live stream on Roast and Review on October 16th. On October 24th, I would drop my first ever album and it would peak at number 3 on the hip hop charts, beating Kevin Gates, NBA Youngboy, NF, and Gucci Mane, falling just below G-Eazy and Post Malone. On November 22nd, KSI would make one of the biggest moves by any YouTube rapper by featuring Rick Ross, Lil Baby, and SX with his song Down Like That, which of course would reach number 1 on the UK charts.
Why you gotta go and let me down like that, hey, down like that.
On November 25th, Adam Calhoun and Ryan Upchurch would drop a collaborative project called Hooligan, which would debut at the number 1 spot on the hip-hop charts. Although this is a scene I am completely unfamiliar with, just because I'm not familiar with it doesn't mean it wasn't huge. The Pokemon Cypher released on November 29th, and my homie 6 Seconds is right there in the middle of it.
Lord. The guard is back, I'm looking at you, peons from the stairs. The stone's fire, bitch, I've been through eons with the flare. Know the vibes, ... Red can never rival that. Got HMO 1, now my pocket's gigantic.
And I guess you could say one of the most recent things that's kind of causing some waves right now is the song Luke Gone put out called Death to Mumble Rap, featuring myself, Futuristic, and Mac Lethal.
Kill 'em off and then all blow 'em up. Molotov, death to mumble, I rule the game.
But there we have it, YouTube Rap Rewind 2019. I'm sure I missed a ton of stuff, and I'm sure you guys are going to let me know in the comments. And there are a ton of honorable mentions. I mean, who could forget Cowboy Shaq? Like, No Life Shaq was a huge part of YouTube rap this year. All of the reaction channels were huge. Like, there's so many things to fit inside of this, and I hate leaving out people. But if you guys had a favorite memory that I didn't put in here, feel free to comment down below. Feel free to comment some stuff that I missed. But again, looking back, I feel like YouTube rap is making tremendous strides towards being taken seriously. I mean, if you just look at the elevation from 2017 to 2018 to 2019, I mean, like, there are some really good artists on YouTube now. So, I'm excited to see what's going to happen in 2020. I hope you guys are too. And yeah, just let me know. So until next time, guys, it has been your boy Crypt, and here is to a great 2020.